feeling like you're stuck in some kind of cosmic Groundhog Day, facing the same relationship hiccups, uh, career stumbles, or just those personal roadblocks again and again. What if these weren't just like random bad luck? What if they're actually personalized lessons your soul kind of signed up for?
Exactly. That's the core idea we're exploring.
Today, we're cracking the code on your zodiac sign's unique karmic curriculum. Think of it as your spiritual cheat sheet to finally leveling up.
That's a great way to put it. You've gathered some really fascinating insights here, drawing from ancient ideas, historical perspectives, even some modern stats on this.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack all of this for you, the learner. We want you to understand the core karmic stuff linked to each sign and how it might be playing out in your life.
And we're not just talking vague generalities here. We're aiming to dive into the specific challenges, the specific growth opportunities baked right into your astrological blueprint.
Yeah, no fluff. We'll be looking at excerpts that explain the basics of zodiac karma, its historical roots, those core principles like cause and effect, responsibility.
You reap what you sow, basically.
Totally. And then we'll zoom right in on the unique tests for all 12 signs, plus, like you said, some interesting statistics, and even a peek at how 2025's planetary weather might stir these themes up.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. These karmic lessons, they're essentially spiritual homework, right? Tailored for soul growth.
Homework nobody really wants, but maybe needs.
Kind of, yeah. And they're tied directly to the fundamental traits of your sign. They often show up as those recurring patterns or challenges until we, finally get it.
Until the penny drops. Astrologically, where do we look for clues?
Well, the big players are often Saturn. Think of him as the karmic taskmaster, the teacher.
Stern but fair.
Hopefully. And also the north and south nodes in your birth chart. The south node is like your comfort zone, your habits, maybe what you need to move beyond. The north node, that's your evolutionary direction, your soul's compass pointing towards growth.
So it's like a map hidden in the chart.
Pretty much. A roadmap for your karmic journey. And the key thing is these challenges, these tough spots, they can actually transform into your greatest strengths. Lessons mastered become wisdom earned.
Okay, that makes sense. It reframes the struggle. You mentioned core principles, like cosmic rules.
Right, there are a few fundamental ones. First, the law of cause and effect. Pretty straightforward. Actions have consequences. And Aries, for example, might learn this very directly through their natural impulsiveness. Rush in, face the result.
A quick feedback loop for them.
Definitely. Then there's the law of responsibility. This is huge. It's about owning your choices and their outcomes. I think Gemini may be trying to talk their way out of something, or Pisces wanting to kind of dissolve responsibility. This law brings it back home. You own it.
Gotcha. So it's not just cosmic punishment. It's about learning accountability.
Precisely. Next, the live growth. This one says we evolve through challenges, not by coasting in comfort. This can be a big one for signs that value security, like, say, Taurus, or emotional safety, like Cancer. The universe pushes you out of the nest a bit.
Growth isn't always comfortable, is it?
Rarely. And finally, the law of compassion. Understanding others, developing empathy. This actually accelerates our own evolution. This might be a focus for analytical Virgo, learning less judgment, or maybe detached Aquarius, learning deeper connection.
It's interesting how these patterns feel so familiar when they show up, like we've been here before.
Right. And some astrological schools of thought believe we actually choose these lessons, maybe even our sign, before we incarnate. We pick the curriculum best suited for the soul growth we're aiming for this time around.
Wow, okay, that's a big concept.
It is. And often these lessons play out really vividly in our important relationships. Those people who push your buttons the most. They might just be your greatest karmic teachers.
Oh, I think we can all relate to that one.
And don't forget Saturn's placement in your specific birth chart. That can really pinpoint where the really demanding but ultimately rewarding lessons are likely to surface. And the nodes, north and south, they give us that direction. Move away from the south nodes, potentially limiting habits, towards the north node's growth potential.
Okay, foundation laid. We've got the cosmic homework, the teachers, Saturn, the nodes, the rules. Now let's get practical. Let's dive into the signs step by step, starting with Aries, the fire starter.
Aries, boundless energy, that warrior spirit, right? Their main karmic assignment is learning patience and genuine consideration for other people, taking others into account.
Because they tend to just charge ahead, ready, fire, aim it.
Exactly. That natural impulsiveness is often the very thing that teaches them. They rush, things go sideways, and boom, lesson learned. Or, well, lesson presented. They might need a few tries.
Yeah, so consequences are their main teacher.
Often, yes. Very direct feedback. In relationships, you might see this recurring clash between their fierce need for independence and maybe a partner's need for security or togetherness. It's a dance they have to learn.
Balancing me and we.
Perfectly put. And anger management is often a big test for them, being ruled by Mars, learning to channel that fire constructively. But when an Aries masters this, they become incredible leaders, patient, thoughtful pioneers who know when to charge and when to pause.
Awesome. Okay, moving to the grounded bull, Taurus, what's their karmic assignment?
A Taurus, ruled by Venus, loves comfort, beauty, security. The tangible stuff. Their big karmic lesson is about detachment. Learning that true security isn't just about possessions or money in the bank, it's an internal state.
So letting go a bit, even when they really want to hold on tight.
Exactly. They might experience financial ups and downs, for instance, that really test their sense of self-worth. Is it tied to their net worth or something deeper? And that famous Taurian stubbornness.
Oh yeah, legendary.
The universe often throws situations at them that demand flexibility. Learn to bend or you might just break. In relationships, lessons around possessiveness or control might pop up, often through partners who really value their own freedom.
So the lesson forces them to loosen their grip.
In a way, yes. The transformation is beautiful, though. They learn to create real stability without clinging, to truly enjoy earthly pleasures without being owned by them, finding that inner anchor.
Makes sense. Next up, Gemini, the quick-witted twins. What's their homework?
Gemini, the explorers of the mind. Their karmic work involves developing emotional depth, integrating the heart with that incredibly agile mind. It's not just about knowing facts, it's about understanding feelings, their own and others.
So bridging the head and the heart.
Precisely. Communication challenges often highlight this. Misunderstandings, maybe gossip getting out of hand or broken promises, these things force them to see the real impact of their words.
Ouch, words have power.
They really do. Relationships might push them towards emotional commitment that feels a bit scary or outside their intellectual comfort zone, and that tendency to flit from interest to interest. Focus and follow-through become key lessons, often through important projects that demand sustained attention.
Finishing what they start.
Yes. The evolved Gemini is amazing, a powerful communicator who connects intellect and emotion, using that curiosity for meaningful exploration, not just skimming the surface.
Okay, let's swim into Cancer territory, the nurturers. What are they working on?
Oh, Cancer. So receptive, so caring. Their primary karmic lesson is all about establishing healthy boundaries while maintaining that beautiful compassion. They soak up others' emotions like sponges.
Which can be draining, right?
Hugely draining. They might find themselves in relationships where the giving and receiving is way out of whack, leading to burnout. Family dynamics are often a big classroom for Cancer, maybe being the family caretaker, or managing emotions for everyone since childhood.
Learning where they end and others begin.
Exactly. And overcoming emotional dependency is often part of it. Relationships might challenge them to stand on their own emotionally. But the goal isn't to stop caring, it's to care from a place of strength. The transformed Cancer is an emotionally intelligent leader, a true nurturer who supports growth, not dependency, and who can feel empathy without drowning in it.
Setting those strong, loving boundaries. Now, the radiant Leo. What's their karmic spotlight on?
Leo. They naturally shine and seek recognition. Their karmic lesson is about balancing that powerful self-expression with genuine humility. Finding authentic confidence that doesn't need constant external applause.
So less focus on the audience, more on the inner light.
You got it. They might encounter situations involving, say, public criticism or rejection that really challenge their self-image. It forces them to ask, who am I without the validation? Pride can be a hurdle, so the universe might serve up lessons requiring humility, maybe needing to apologize sincerely, or thrive in teamwork where they aren't the star, or lead by serving others.
Learning that true strength isn't always about being the loudest or proudest.
Right. And even with their creativity, the lesson is about creating from the heart, meaningfully, not just to impress people. The evolved Leo is magnetic, a heart-centered leader who lifts others up, whose charisma inspires rather than just demands attention. True confidence, you know.
Beautiful. And meticulous Virgo, the organizers and helpers.
Virgo with their analytical minds and exacting standards. Their karmic journey is about balancing that perfectionism with self-acceptance and seeing the beauty and imperfection in themselves, in others, in life.
Letting go of the need for everything to be just so.
Exactly. Health challenges might arise, forcing them to relate to their bodies with more compassion, not just as projects to be fixed. Criticism is a big theme, learning the difference between helpful, constructive analysis and harmful judgment, refining versus finding fault.
That's a fine line sometimes.
It really is. In the workplace or in service roles, they might notice patterns of overgiving, learning that their value isn't just tied to how useful they are. The transformation here leads to Virgos becoming healers who accept limitations, analysts focused on solutions, not just problems, and perfectionists who create beauty within imperfection, not by trying to eliminate it entirely.
Wow, okay. We've covered the first 6 signs. This feels like a really good spot to pause for a sec.
Agreed. These concepts are deep, and it's a lot to take in.
Absolutely. And if you're finding this resonates, if you want to dig even deeper into your specific karmic blueprint and get some practical tools for navigating these lessons, remember to visit the links in the description below. We've got more resources waiting for you there.
Definitely check those out. Okay, shall we continue our tour through the Zodiac?
Let's do it. Next up, Libra, the diplomats, always seeking harmony and balance.
Libra, yes. Their core karmic lesson involves developing genuine independence alongside their relationship focus. Finding that internal balance, that sense of self that isn't solely defined by partnership.
So being okay on their own, even though they love being part of a pair.
Precisely. They might experience relationship endings that, while tough, push them to rediscover who they are outside of the we. Decision-making can be another challenge, that classic Libran weighing of options.
Analysis paralysis.
Totally. The universe might create situations where they have to make a choice, quickly, and on their own, and their desire to avoid conflict. Sometimes that backfires, creating bigger issues down the line. The lesson is that real harmony sometimes requires facing disagreement head-on.
Finding balance even means embracing necessary conflict sometimes.
Exactly. The evolved Libra builds partnerships from a place of wholeness, uses diplomacy for authentic resolution, and understands that true harmony isn't about avoiding ripples, it's about navigating them gracefully.
Your powerful stuff. Okay, plunging into the depths with Scorpio. Intense.
Scorpio energy is deep, no doubt. Their karmic work is often about profound emotional transformation, specifically through forgiveness and release. Learning to let go of old hurts, betrayals, resentments, and that intense need for control.
Letting go sounds like a major theme for them.
Huge. They might attract experiences of betrayal that really test their ability to trust and be vulnerable. The lesson isn't to build higher walls, but to find the power in releasing the pain, rather than holding on to it or trying to control the situation or the other person.
That takes immense strength.
It really does. Jealousy or possessiveness can be recurring patterns in relationships, pushing them into situations where control is simply impossible. There can also be lessons around power dynamics, maybe related to finances or shared resources, learning that true, sustainable power comes from integrity, not manipulation. The transformed Scorpio is incredibly powerful, an emotional healer, an ethical leader, a spiritual alchemist who isn't afraid of the dark.
Amazing potential there. Now let's gallop off with Sagittarius, the adventurer.
Sagittarius loves freedom, exploration, big ideas. Their karmic lesson involves balancing that freedom drive with developing commitment and focus, learning the value dedication of seeing things through.
So the Rolling Stone needs to learn how to gather some moss, maybe.
Something like that. In relationships, their fear of being tied down might lead them to miss out on deep, meaningful connections. They might need to learn that commitment doesn't have to mean confinement.
Finding freedom within commitment.
That's the goal. Issues around keeping promises or maybe exaggerating things can also come up, affecting their credibility. Career-wise, the lesson is often about finding depth, rather than just breadth, achieving mastery through sustained focus on one path or project instead of constantly seeking the next new thing. The evolved SAG is inspiring a visionary leader who's also grounded, a wise teacher sharing profound insights, an explorer who brings back real treasures, not just stories.
Grounding that expansive vision. Love it. Capricorn, the mountain goat, always climbing.
Capricorn, yes. Disciplined, ambitious, focused on achievement. Their karmic lesson is about balancing that drive with joy, emotional connection, and inner fulfillment. Realizing that success isn't just about reaching the summit, it's also about enjoying the climb and having companions along the way.
So learning that worth isn't solely defined by productivity or status.
Exactly. They might experience health issues or relationship breakdowns triggered by overwork, forcing them to reassess their priorities. Issues around authority, how they wield it, how they react to it can be a theme, teaching them the difference between controlling leadership and empowering leadership.
Using power wisely.
Yes. And family patterns might highlight lessons around emotional expression, learning that acknowledging feelings is a strength, not a weakness. The transformed Capricorn builds lasting structures, yes, but ones filled with joy and connection. They achieve sustainable success that includes personal well-being and measures impact, not just status.
Building a life, not just a resume. Okay, Aquarius, the visionary, the humanitarian.
Aquarius, so brilliant, so forward-thinking, often focus on ideas and the collective. Their karmic lesson involves balancing that intellectual brilliance with genuine emotional connection, bringing heart to the revolution, you could say.
So connecting with the people they want to help on an emotional level, not just an intellectual one.
Precisely. Their natural tendency towards detachment, while great for objectivity, can sometimes create distance in personal relationships. They learn that true progress includes emotional evolution. Rebellion is another theme, learning the difference between constructive change from within systems versus, just railing against everything without a clear purpose.
Channeling that revolutionary spirit effectively.
Exactly. And working in communities highlights the need to balance the group's needs with individual feelings and perspectives. The evolved Aquarius is amazing an innovator who leads with heart, a visionary whose ideas serve real human needs, a humanitarian who truly loves imperfect people, not just humanity as an abstract concept.
Bringing the ideals down to earth. And finally, Pisces, the dreamer, the empath.
Pisces, flowing in the vast ocean of consciousness. Their core karmic lesson is about establishing healthy boundaries while staying compassionate. It's about discernment, learning to protect their sensitive energy without shutting down their empathy.
Finding the edges, even when they feel boundless.
Beautifully said. Their giving nature can sometimes attract takers, leading to patterns of martyrdom or being drained. Learning to say no kindly but firmly is key. Escapism can also be a challenge. The lesson is to stay present, to engage with reality clear-eyed, recognizing that true spirituality includes navigating the mundane.
Grounding the mystical.
Yes. And creatively, it's about bringing those incredible dreams and intuitions into tangible form through action. The transformed Pisces is a powerful force, a compassionate healer serving from strength, a visionary making dreams real, a spiritual teacher showing that boundaries and oneness can coexist.
Wow. That covers all 12 signs, such distinct yet interconnected lessons. Now, you mentioned stats earlier. For the skeptics or just the curious, do numbers actually back any of this up?
It's actually quite interesting. Surveys among astrologers show that around 78% consistently see these recurring karmic themes matching up with traditional sun sign interpretations in their clients' lives.
Okay, so practitioners are seeing it consistently.
Yes. And when you look at charts of people with really pronounced, challenging life patterns, about 65% have difficult aspects involving Saturn, our karmic teacher planet. Even things like numerology seem to align. Some studies show a 72% correlation between life path numbers and these Zodiac lessons. The number 7, interestingly, pops up a lot in descriptions of intense karmic work.
7. And what about life events? Do specific times trigger these lessons?
Definitely. The Saturn returns around age 28-30 and again 58-60 are huge.
Yep.
But 82% of people report major life shifts and facing these recurring themes head-on during those periods.
The universe really turns up the heat then.
Seems like it. Also, the progressed moon cycle, shifting every couple of years or so, links to our emotional development, and around 76% see emotional karmic lessons surface in sync with those cycles. There's even about 68% agreement between Western and various Eastern astrological systems on the core themes for the signs.
Cross-cultural consistency, too. That's significant.
It is. And maybe it's growing awareness, but some data suggests younger generations are more tuned in, like 47% actively working on these lessons, compared to maybe 29% of older folks.
Fascinating numbers.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have the knowledge, we see the patterns. How do we use this? What are some really practical take-home applications for each sign, building on their specific lesson?
Great question. Let's make it super concrete. An Aries learning patience. Try a 24-hour rule before reacting when triggered. Taurus working on detachment. Schedule regular decluttering. Letting go of physical stuff can mirror letting go internally.
Ooh, I like that. Practical magic.
Right. Gemini needing emotional depth. Journaling about feelings, not just thoughts. Leo practicing humility. Consciously make space for others to speak first in conversations. Really listen.
Simple shifts.
Virgo challenging perfectionism. Set
Yeah.
good enough benchmarks. Doesn't have to be flawless to be valuable. Scorpio working on forgiveness. Maybe a simple ritual, writing down a hurt and safely burning it, symbolizing release.
Powerful imagery.
Capricorn seeking balance. Block out non-negotiable personal time in your calendar. Treat it like a crucial meeting. Sagittarius building commitment. Break big goals into tiny, manageable steps. Focus on completing just one.
Makes it less daunting.
Aquarius deepening connection. Practice empathetic listening. Reflect back what you hear someone feeling, not just saying. Pisces, setting boundaries. Role play saying no, clearly and kindly to small requests first. Build the muscle.
These are great, like little exercises for the soul.
Exactly. Even spiritual practices can be tailored. Aries might like active meditation, Taurus a grounding gratitude practice, Cancer visualizations for stronger emotional boundaries. It's all about conscious application.
This makes it feel so much more actionable. Okay, looking ahead briefly 2025, any cosmic headlines we should be aware of regarding these lessons?
Well, a few things stand out. Jupiter moving into Gemini could really boost growth around communication, learning, sharing ideas, especially for the air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius.
More mental expansion?
Potentially, yes. Then Saturn moves into Aries. That brings a focus on disciplined action, taking initiative, responsibility, big for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag, but relevant for all in terms of how we assert ourselves.
Saturn in Aries sounds intense.
Could be. And Pluto retrograding in Aquarius might stir up deep spiritual awakenings, questioning collective beliefs, redefining our role in society. That could be especially potent for Aquarius and Pisces.
So the planets might amplify certain themes we're already working on.
They often do. They provide the energetic weather, highlighting areas ripe for growth. Now, it's fair to say not everyone buys into astrology or karma, right? What about other ways of looking at these life patterns?
Good point, the skeptical view.
Often points to confirmation bias, we see what we expect to see, or argues that attributing things to karma can feel disempowering, like destiny is fixed. Different religions, of course, have their own complex views on fate, free will, and consequence.
Then psychology.
Psychology might frame these recurring patterns as unconscious beliefs or behaviors learned early on, needing conscious work to change. Philosophically, it taps into the whole free will versus determinism debate.
So lots of different frameworks.
But what's fascinating is, often the practical advice converges. Whether you call it breaking a psychological pattern, aligning with divine will, or working through karma, the steps often involve self-awareness, taking responsibility, intentional action, and compassion.
So the how might look similar even if the why differs.
Exactly. The focus shifts to your response, your choices now.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've really unpacked how these karmic lessons are like personalized growth accelerators built into our zodiac sign. Whether you're that fiery Aries learning to pause or the watery Pisces learning to stand firm.
Understanding these cosmic nudges, these recurring themes, it really can shift things. Challenges become opportunities for genuine evolution. And all the signs, all 12 lessons, they form a complete spectrum, interconnected.
What really stands out is that these aren't punishments, they're invitations. Invitations to grow into a more whole, aware version of ourselves.
Yes, it's about recognizing those patterns, the relationships, the situations, the feelings that keep coming back, and choosing to meet them differently this time, with more consciousness.
So take some time after listening, really reflect on what sparked something for you today. Those situations that trigger strong emotions or just keep showing up in new clothes, those are probably your key karmic classrooms.
And remember, this isn't about beating yourself up over the past. It's about stepping into the present right now with more awareness and making empowered choices for your future. You have agency here.
Absolutely. And here's a final thought to chew on. If these recurring challenges really are invitations for your soul's highest development, what's one small intentional step you could take this week? Just one thing to meet one of those invitations with a new perspective.
What might shift if you consciously chose to lean into the lesson just a little, instead of automatically trying to push it away or avoid it?
That's your food for thought. Keep exploring your own deep dive.